ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे Paramanandamaadhamam. So we are into the fourth chapter about the Avatarvada, and the last verse in this league of this topic of Avatarvada, Krishna speaks. We looked the last class, verse number 9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. O Arjuna, so you should, the one who knows that this Janma of mine is Divya and Karma is also Divya. Two things he speaks about. Janma, Karma, Chame Divya. Janma and Karma. So one who knows my divine and birth, and that person also, after giving up the body, that person is not born again. Where he goes? He attains me. He attains me. What do you mean by he attains me, Rekha? That Ishwaratva, that he attains me, there is identity with Ishvara. There is no gaining, coming and going. That is the meaning. That meaning is Taktva Deham Punarjanma na eti. Punarjanma na eti. He does not take Punarjanma. Mam eti. Then where he goes, he does not give Mam eti. Means he discovers his Ishvaratva. Jivatva is resolved. The Jiva really, he does not become Ishvara. Jiva discovers he is already Ishvara. That understanding we should have in Vedanta language, that the clarity is that I am that Ishvara. I was not knowing, and that is why I was limited as a Jiva. And what knowing what it brings the change, the whole thing, that this whole thing about my birth and about my karma, the one who knows, he is not a doer enjoyer. Bhagavan talks about in this section about the doership and enjoyership. Sharda, more on this verse.
I think you've covered it, Swamiji. The fact is, basically, after Krishna has spoken about the fact that he is an avatara and he is, every time there is a decline in dharma, he comes and he kind of ensures that those who are adharmi are kind of brought to the fore. I mean, he says destruction of adharmas, but he doesn't mean the destruction, but the bringing them back to dharma kind of thing. So this is the kind of avatar that happens time and again. So once he finishes talking about that, he says, one who knows this reality of my divine birth and action in this way, Arjuna, such a person is not born again, because such a person has released himself from this notion of samsara. So he will understand the true nature of his Atma. He will become one with Ishvara. So he will understand his Ishwaratva. It is not like there's no becoming, though the word become is used, it's not really any becoming, because you already are that. It's only a question of removing the ignorance or the veil that is kind of surrounding or clouding your knowledge or your understanding of your true self. So once you understand that this is why Krishna was born and action, you give up your body because you realize you are not the body. Once you are out of samsara, you are no longer bound by the cycles of birth and death. So that is
You are
what
not
happens
the
to such.
body means you are not only the body.
Yeah, you're
You
not
are the
only the
body
body.
as well.
Yes.
Because I keep saying this. My teacher used to say that dissociation with your own body, mind, sense complex start happening. It is not that what is your body is also Brahman. But
Very much,
you
yes.
should not take it. So therefore, you are not the body. If we say just like that, it is no. You are not only the. So that is
Or
correct.
your body is only a mithya, but what is the real
Yeah,
satya is
yeah,
your
yeah.
true
Mithya
nature.
Satya, that aspect, yes.
Right.
Anybody else? This is a very important verse. So what do you mean by Riya? What do you mean by Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam? What do you mean by Divya there? Janma Karma Divya.
So basically, it's mentioned that birth of Krishna is Divyam, as in to specify how it is different from Jiva, since he's not bound by karma phala. His actions are not bound by karma phalas, like our actions are bound by karma phalas. Whatever we are doing, it's because of our previous birth, and whatever we have done in this life or in the past, since our actions and our birth is determined, it's because of our karma phalas and whatever we have done. But for him, it is not like that. He's not
The
bind by
sense of doership and enjoyership is
is
not
not
there.
there.
One who has grown out of the sense of doership and enjoyership, that Janma itself becomes Divya. And Karma itself is Divya because there is no doership. The sense of doership and enjoyership is not there. So that clarity and understanding, because this simple looks very divine. Just by saying divine, it is Divya. Sab kuch Divya hai. That should not be. My teacher used to say, just throwing words. This is. You have to unfold every word. What do you mean by that? Right? Going to the next verse. Anything else on this verse? Then what was the next verse? So that he talks about the purity of this book. By this discipline of knowledge, once you are purified completely, putaha. And how putaha? Jnana tapasa putaha. Tapas, by tapas. What kind of tapas? Jnana tapasa. So jnana is the adjective given to that tapas. So what is the jnana tapas? Shravana Manana Nidhyasana is the main jnanam. And Swamiji writes that you don't need this knowledge. Shankaracharya ji writes, you don't need any other tapas mainly. Because really speaking, the whole thing is because of ignorance. You are taking yourself to be the doer and enjoyer, isn't it?
Right.
The doership and enjoyership is being talked of, and that goes by jnana tapasa, putaha. Because this whole sense of clarity about your being divine will not come. That your being Ishvara, one with Ishvara, that sense of lack, smallness, and inadequacy centered on the self, that is not there. And but for that, he talks many things here. Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha, manmaya, mam upashitaha. So these three things he says before that. Then only mad bhavam agataha. Then only he gets to my nature. Comes back to my nature means comes back is not coming back or going somewhere. Coming back in the sense of understanding that you are always Ishvara. Why you are not taking yourself to be Ishvara? Because your puny little mind is busy in so many other things of the world. You know, mind is not ready to accept because mind is busy, and that is why in Raga and Bhaya and Krodha it is busy. Raga is all kinds of likes and dislikes. Raga के साथ द्वेष भी आ जाता है. Bhaya Krodha, we saw that. Gita Visheshena Gataha. In Gatav Dhatu it is. In, small e. In the meaning of going. So that past passive participle of vi plus vi becomes vita is the past passive participle. Vita, the one from whom has gone for good. Raga, Bhaya and Krodha. Mam Upashita, what do you mean, Rajiv? I told you word by word, you should be able to look.
Swamiji, taking refuge in me, basically, uh, all the time being remembering me, or after doing the Shravana Manana and Nidhyasana also is taking refuge in me only.
Refuge in me is understanding completely.
Understanding me.
Manmaya.
Manmaya means Swamiji, totally resolved all the time. Statam remembering me, or be in that bhava of knowing me or in me or doing everything for me. If you are in a karma yoga and understanding
Yeah.
Brahman, Mansura Gyani.
So, Mamupashita, those who have totally resolved into Parameshwara alone. That is Mamupashita. By the process of Shravana Manana Dhyasana.
Shravan.
Yeah. So there is no, there are no mistaken notion of being Jiva. Right? Then this verse is done. We talked about relative, you talked in the last class about the relative Shuddhi and absolute Shuddhi.
Yeah.
The purity, tapas is not required. Atma, there is no ashuddhi. Atma is ever pure. So ashuddhi is only in the mind. Antaran Shuddhi only required. Gautam ji?
Ji.
So Antakaran Shuddhi only you require. There is no Ashuddhi, and therefore last class you were Tuesday class you were telling about Amritopamam. So Amrita, it is not said it is Amrita, it is Amritopamam. Upama. It is like
Nectar,
Amrita.
like a nectar, yeah.
Like. So it is not nectar. It is like nectar.
Like nectar. Okay.
So there is
Nectar
a
like,
difference.
nectar like.
Nectar like.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore that also you should understand. I was
Yeah.
thinking later on how, you know. So this relative Shuddhi, how will you explain absolute Shuddhi and relative Shuddhi? Purity is about the mind only.
Yeah. Swami, the relative
Purity
Shuddhi
is
means
talked about, yes, from Raga, Dvesha, Punya, Papas. Freedom from all that. Atma is ever free, Nirguna. Free from all
Yeah.
attributes. Right? And relative Shuddhi is the process of growth, maturity, you know, that life of alertness, discipline, all that Swamiji writes. Commitment. So unless I have seen, you know, in my this whatever I am doing these days, it is a must. I'm discovering it more and more. It is a must. I will talk at length someday about it. It is a discovery of a very high order. Ki it is totally different thing. It's a kind of complete alertness and discipline of mind. And somewhere you reach very deeply through just mere japa also. Not total understanding will come, but then that Antaran Shuddhi, that oneness of the mind, single pointedness of the mind, the power of the mind will be discovered. I will explain in great details sometime. You know, japa, manasikam japam it is. This tapas, manasikam japam, when you stop your tongue speaking upamshu, it is not just the mind chants. And it is said in the tradition for 6 hours, one has to do it. You know what happens when you do at that length of time just by single pointed, not using your tongue, not using anything. When you sit and do that length of time, what will happen? You have to discover it. It can't be told. Something complete, something you will understand what it is all about. Everything will be revealed. Not in Jnanam. Everything will be revealed about this whole technique, about this whole power of the mind, about this whole, you know, what do you call of clarity, what do you call of single, all that energy, all that Shuddhi, what we talk of, it is just mere words unless you go through it. And
Swami,
this,
that abhyas and somewhere I was reading that abhyas and adhyas both are required. Abhyas is required like you are doing jap and tap. It is meant for the purification of the mind. Whereas adhyas is means we have to understand that we are superimposing the mind, sense, and
yes,
body.
adhyasa, because there is a adhyasa is upon this Atma is the superimposition of this whole
Yeah. So that is
Padi, the body mind sense complex that has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Right? So then what else? Anybody wants to speak on something more on this?
Swamiji, I wanted to ask something.
Uh,
If when we are chanting mantras, these strotas or some of some god or something. That also, if we say it in our mind, is it more powerful?
No. That is different.
That's a different thing, no, altogether.
This is the particular practice.
Ha.
Just by mind, when you will start doing it, what happens, I will tell you. You can go into your Sushumna also gets awakened because through the pranayama you control the mind. And through the mind you can control prana. What will happen is when your mind becomes single pointed just near with the mind when you do japa, it will calm down. As soon as it calms down, your whole prana will be, you go into that level of, you can keep on sitting for hours, you will not know. You will be conscious completely. But your whole, both the Ida Pingala means in the sense of yoga, both will become, Sushumna will be open and both will start working together. And then you can keep sitting that whole day, you will be energetic. Everything will change. Your mind energy will be different. Everything will be different. And that is why japa has been given so much enormous thing. That has to be done. So Swamiji also writes 6 hours. In this commentary, when somebody said Gayatri mantra has to be done for 6 hours. You noted that? Somebody else also told me 6 hours. It has to be done every day. 6 hours you have to sit. But 6 hours means, this whole method, people don't tell this technique. The gurus, they don't tell this technique of Manasikam Japam. What is it? Actually, people don't know about it. Rajiv, what happened?
So my bandwidth is low, no, so I have to keep shifting from. In spite of requesting them to increase it, they have not done it. So I have to
Okay,
keep
we got
shifting
into
from.
the other topic today, but I've always wanted to speak about it. Doesn't matter. Then next verse.
Swamiji, one more point about this verse, because somewhere I have read it only that this verse can be interpreted in terms of the 3 yogas. That is Karma Yoga, detachment from Rag, Bhay and Krodha. Bhakti Yoga means Manmaya and Mam Uparasita. And Jnana Yoga means Jnana Tapas. So all
These
the 3
three yogas,
yogas
you don't interpret, the tradition does not interpret yogas as different. There are no 3 or 4 yogas as people interpret. That is a wrong way of interpreting yogas. There are only
means
pravritti marga. Listen to me now. There is only pravritti marga and nivritti marga. Pravritti marga is karma marga, nivritti marga is jnana marga. प्रवृत्ति में ही भक्ति है. दोनों मार्ग में भक्ति is common to both the margas. That is why it is called yoga. Yoga cannot happen without any bhakti. If you read Swamiji more and more, you will understand these people who put bhakti as a separate yoga. How bhakti can be separate yoga? Bhakti cannot be separate yoga. Bhakti is inherent in each and everything. You know? So whatever you do,
the purification of mind. Bhakti is related to purification of mind. Karma Yoga is meant for the rag, freeing the rag and krodha.
Acha,
And then
you read the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita book first, then we will discuss about this. Personally, I will discuss.
Okay.
This is not to be taken like that.
Okay.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. So here it was said what? So in whatever way people invoke me, I bless them in that same form. That is meaning is what? So in the next 2 verses, he talks about that whatever you are asking for, that will be evoked. In the next verse, he talks about whatever Anya Devtas you worship, that small things only you will get. You are not asking for the big thing, ultimate thing. And therefore, small results, desires you are having, and therefore, you remain in that only. If you don't, if mumukshus are asking for jnanam, I bless them with that. Artha, I bless you in the kama, I bless them with that. Dharma, I bless them with that. Whatever purushartha you are invoking, that I give you. What else you can say on this? Sarvjit, you have done anything? Your notes last class? Tell her, okay, we will see. This class notes you will read. Rajiv?
Yes, Swamiji. Swamiji, this verse implies that everything material in this world is Ishvara only, and through everything we basically seek Ishvara. And Bhagavan says that in whatever form they worship me, I fulfill it in that form only. So basically, the fallacy of a jiva to ask for small things in life, because everyone is bothered about the material. They ask material, or if they want name and fame and whatever it is, I fulfill that only. Uh, Swamiji, if they seek me, I'll be level for them. But unfortunately, they seek small gains, and the phala they want, because I am Bhagavan is Karam Phalidata and Karma Adhyaksha. So whatever phala they get in whatever prayer they in whatever prayer they worship Ishvara, they get that only. So all forms, all material is Ishvara, everything is Ishvara. All phalas are given by him, and whatever small or big you ask, you are given that. So we need to be careful about what we seek from Ishvara, whatever the kind of prayer that we shall have.
Are 9 o'clock ho bhi gaya, we have not proceeded. Anyway, next verse we have already covered Anya Devatas also, that you invoke small gods and you get small things, desiring the results. So Kshiprami Manushe Loke is connected with the next verse of today also. What is that, Riya? Kshiprami Manushe Loke?
Basically, we are not able to see beyond and always seeking smaller things. Rather, we can get the whole Ishvara, because we are only looking for immediate action and result and think that this is what we need. But rather, we all require fulfillment, but are not aware about it. So we're just looking for smaller things and not looking beyond that.
Kshiprami Manushe Loke means in Manushya Loka only.
Instant
But
gratification.
there are other lokas also, karma phala is there. But in the Manusya Loka, it is very fast. Karma phala you get. Siddhi bhavati, karmaja, because of born of karma. So, and that is why he says, because of all this Chaturvarnya Maya system is connected with this Shiprami Manusya Loka. Yes, Sharda, you were saying something.
No, instant gratification is what the Manusha
Yes.
Loka is about.
Yeah.
So that is where that is why it is specifically mentioned here.
Because this karma is there, and that is why all that division is there according to based on the karma, the way it is done. And that Siddhi Bhavati, that Shiprami Manushe Loke, that Varna and Ashrama Vyavastha is there. In that
Yes.
Vyavastha, Karma Phala is there. And that all is connected. Yeah, na, Rajiv?
Swamiji, in other words, because the Manushya Loka is born of the karma and karma phala only. So that's the reason that everything that you seek as action, you get the phala, and you get it the phala quickly. And that's what people seek.
Yeah. So now today's verse. Chatur Varnyam Maya System Gunakarma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So now he says, Bhagwan says that this fourfold group of people based on duties and conflicts is created by me. Maya system. Guna is qualities, karma is duties. So Vibhaga is according to these duties and qualities, I am creating these four groups. And you should know me to be the karta and also akarta. Because I am avyaya. Mam avyayam. You should know me as a karta if you know me. And you will, because otherwise, what is the whole created word of this whole thing is by me only. That is to be understood once you understand what is it all about. Swamiji gives beautifully the example of fire. That is a very good example. So by that you can understand. So when Swamiji first used to tell in the class, first time I listened, I was really. So you put your finger in the fire and you say, you burnt me. Yes, I did burn you, but I did not burn you. Both together you are saying, how come you burned me and you did not burn me? See, if you know the law of Agni, if you fire burns, if you put your finger into me, it will burn. But I did not burn you. You put finger in me, and therefore it got burnt. So therefore, it is Satya Mithya understanding is there. So if you understand the Bhagavan to be the Satyam, Abhyayam, that Mithya, that the nature of the laws of the nature are there according to whatever is manifested aspect of that law. Bhagavan is manifested in that. So that is a Mithya aspect. But what is Bhagavan as such is Satyam. That is what is, he says. So therefore, knowing me as the Abhyayam, I am Akarta. So Chaturvarnyam, this only you will see Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these divisions will come into four only. Sattva Guna. So what in short, I am putting it in perspective. So Sattva Guna is qualities of Brahmanas. Brahmana does not mean jati. So there are jati, guna and karma. Jati, karma and guna. So jatita, once you understand, it is born. You are born in a Brahman family. Karma is through the duties you are recognized as a Brahmana. And guna is through the character. Character means your mind. So there you have to understand this whole idea of Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita is talking about this gunata. You have to grow in guna, guna brahmana. Jati is nowhere into consideration in the Gita. You should not think about jati. It is about duties. Groups are divided according to duties, and therefore, according to duties, what you are doing, and according to your characteristics of the mind. If a servant is doing without your asking, he knows what you want. He is a Brahmana Shudra. And if he is, even after 100 times you tell him he don't, he is Shudra. The characteristic of the mind, so Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that way. So Brahman is the Brahman does not mean Brahman is superior most, is because of the sattvic mind, the quality of the mind. Kshatriya is the quality of the leadership. So, and Vaishya is the quality of business handling, agriculture, and Shudra is the quality of doing. A quality is different. Shudra is worse quality, that wise. Vaishya is the quality of being more Rajasic kind of a person. So that is why he divides these four. Brahman is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Kshatriya is Rajas, Sattva, Tamas. Vaishya is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. Rajas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. And Shudra is Tamas, Rajas, Sattva. So therefore, these are the four, and the other two are not possible. After Tamas, straight away Rajas, Sattva cannot come, or after Sattva, Tamas cannot come. So these two qualities are not possible. Only four are possible. So this is all very simple given in the book, which we should not go in very great details. That is why these four varnas, according to the qualities of the mind, they have been created, and according to the duties one who is doing. Jati, nowhere it is talking about. See the Gita, where Jati it is talking. It is a Guna and Karma. Only Guna and Karma Vibhaga. So people who are always telling, we are born Shudra family, we are born Brahmana family. In our courses, no one was considered any Jati. Even the Muslims came and studied. Christians came and studied Vedanta. Muslims came and studied Vedanta. One French Muslim guy is there who is teaching Vedanta. One Christian guy is there who is living in Kerala. He's a sannyasi. My Guru Bhai. What I am trying to say, Swamiji writes very clearly. We don't consider which varna you are born. That is only later in this life. People who are not aware of all these things, they are thinking like that. Your character of the mind, you can be a Brahmana by Jati, but Gunata, you may be Shudra only. By all the these days in Madras or wherever, so many Brahmanas are leather factories are there. मोची का काम कर रहे हैं. तो गुणता कैसे हो गए? वो गुणता की बात नहीं कर रहे, कर्मता. कर्म तो उनका मोची का हो गया, ब्राह्मण का कहाँ हुआ? लेदर का काम कर रहे हैं तो मोची का काम हो गया ना. तो दैट इज नॉट, इट इज नॉट वी आर कैटेगरी, वी आर नॉट लेबलिंग पीपल, वी आर डिवाइडिंग पीपल अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर गुणा एंड कर्म. That is the main point in this verse. What else you people can speak, Sharda? There is a lot and lot in this. We will go very essential points into this. All details you can study yourself.
Swami, I just wanted to make a point, Swami, before Sharda
Yeah.
speaks. Swami, Gita is talking to a person who wants Shreyas or
Yes.
for a mukshu.
Gunata sattvic, yes.
It's not talking to an ordinary person. So it's basically not commenting on what is the status of society. It's trying to teach someone that you need to grow in sattvikta. So you must understand the other contrary gunas also. So
Yes.
it has no bearing on society. People have I have a theory that when the knowledge was respected, some people thought that they will monopolize knowledge because they were mentored or they were respected. So they made it within themselves. Now, if there is something else gives them gain, then they stick to that particular group. So this is basically Gita doesn't talk about this being jati or being familial. That's also it.
Yeah, Sharda.
I think taking from where Dr. Rajiv left, what the Gita is trying to say is like in every society, there are classifications. And these classifications are generally not based on random accidents of birth. There's a certain reason for classification of people in particular silos. One being, of course, quality or guna or what is your general disposition. And the second is, of course, the karma or the duty you do. And in both of these, there are, of course, we have already discussed in the elaborate discussion on the various kinds of sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic attributes. For example, your happiness, your the way you look at sorrow, the way you look at courage, the way you look at all the things that we did in the previous few chapters, previous few verses, has brought us to this point where you realize that there are some people who have an abundance of sattvic guna with a little bit of a little smattering of rajas and then tamas. So there is one group like that. Then there is another group which may have largely rajasic qualities with a little bit of sattva in them because they do have a little bit of contemplation and knowledge seeking and self soul searching and kind of a little bit of karma yoga
No,
kind
they
of.
are leaders, but they
They're
are
leaders with
Rajasic people, but
compassion.
they are thinking good for others.
Yes, so they have a
They
lot
are
of
not only,
compassion.
if the Sattva is the second after Rajas, so they can
Yes.
be leaders because they will be helpful in the
Leaders
society.
who are for the general good of the maximum people. Then there are of course tamas is always there in small measures in all of us. So that should be the least quality. Then comes the other leaders who are deceptive, mean, cunning, manipulative. For them, rajas is the most important, and after rajas comes tamas, and then only they have a very very little bit of sattva in them. So then the last version is where you are only talking of tamas, where you are completely deluded, you everything you interpret in the wrong way. Now these four categories have nothing to do with where you are born. These are purely to do with the kind of qualities you have, the kind of duties you perform, and your own attitudes. So to go, of course, there is a birth concept because in ancient times generally sons or followed the professions of their fathers, but that is not valid enough to for what the Gita says here. because the Gita here is very specific that the classification is basically in terms of only these two. One is the kind of duties you perform, and two is the kind of qualities you possess. And based on that, you are either a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. And as Swamiji already mentioned, the Brahmana is the one who has certain duties, such as he has to be a person who's religious, who performs all the karmas, who's contemplative by nature, who reads, who studies, who's basically looking at increasing wisdom, for pursuing knowledge, doing good. He's only got that. He's not bound by his ragas and dveshas. That kind of person is supposed to be a Brahmana. Then you have the Kshatriya, who is the person who is your warrior, who is your leader, who is your king, who's the administrator in today's day, or the policeman of today's day. These are all in the Kshatriya kind of.
Yeah, but first group you said not raga dvesha. See these qualities and
Raga
duties.
dvesha is wrong, actually. You're right, Swamiji.
You should not mix the qualities
Let
and
me not
duties.
mix the quality. Ha. We are only talking of Brahmanas are those who are
Duties.
generally
If you talk about duties,
teachers.
you talk about
Yes.
what duties are there.
So
But
teachers,
qualities will
gurus.
determine whether they are Brahmana
Yes.
or
Yes.
Kshatriya
Yes.
Brahmana
I know.
or
As soon
Vaishya
as I said it,
Brahmana
I
or
knew I was
Shudra
going
Brahmana.
to.
Yeah.
Yes. So similarly, you have the Kshatriyas, then you have the Vaishyas, who are your traders, your businessmen, your corporates, the people who are making money, the ones who are in agriculture, farmers. These are all your Vaishyas. So that is the kind of duty they have. And then there are the Shudras, who are basically the ones who are performing service. So they use their hands, their ears, their eyes. They're performing all the various services in society. Now, each of these four categories can be karma yogis, because they have to perform their respective duties with the attitude of karma yoga. And that's why Swamiji said I made a mistake when I spoke of karma yoga in the beginning. Karma yoga is including for all the four. So regardless of what duty you do, you have to do it with a sense of that feeling of karma yoga, or that the attitude of karma yoga, where you have an antakarna shuddhi and you perform it as if you're performing a duty for Ishvara, as a service to Ishvara. So if you are doing that, then a Brahmana you become, or you can be, if you don't do it in that way and you have the Kshatriya kind of qualities in you, then you can be a Brahmana Kshatriya if the Kshatriya is doing it with proper karma yoga. Similarly, if the Vaishya is there, there's a Brahmana Vaishya and there is a Brahmana Shudra. Similarly, there are Kshatriya Brahmanas, Kshatriya Kshatriyas, Kshatriya Vaishyas, and Kshatriya Shudras.
So you can
So
put
on and
it
so forth.
across in the whole idea is if you the qualities, so the duties and the qualities. So with which
Yes,
quality you are doing your duty,
exactly.
that group you can be fit in.
Very true.
So as
So
I
you,
told you, a servant example, if a servant
very
is
true.
really brainy and he really knows what does the master wants before without the master telling, that means he's really a thinking person, a Brahmana. A Brahmana
More than knowing what the master wants, because if his master is tamasic, he should be somebody who is doing the right thing as for the good of his
we are
master.
not talking about master Satvika. What I am trying to tell is the
No, no, I'm just
guna.
saying.
Again,
See,
you have to point out the Shudra quality is not the quality.
yes,
The Shudra is the duty.
yes.
But
For
he can
example,
be,
I mean, I think
termed as a Brahman Shudra or Kshatriya Shudra,
true,
Shudra or Shudra Shudra. If
true.
he is a
For
thinking
example,
now, that is, if he is a thinking person, he knows what the master wants without telling him, then he is
correct,
really the Brahman Shudra.
correct, correct.
Like all these things, and he is just a useless fellow, then he's a Shudra Shudra. That way.
So basically, what we are trying to say is that all the divisions in society are based on Shreyas, or on what your pursuit is, as Dr. Saab was saying. So if you want in your own sphere of duty and guna, if you want to excel and you can be a Brahmana. So that's what
So that
is.
verse in Mundaka one verse comes, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedam Ayat Nasti Akrita Kritena. What is the meaning of Brahmana there? Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmana Nirvedam Ayat Nasti Akrita Kritena. The one who was examined Lokan, all the experiences, one's experiences, and all the results of the experiences, what comes Sukha Dukkha, when one analyzes, that Brahmana, who is a Brahmana? The one who is of sattvic mind. So therefore, Gunata Brahmana it is talked of. Wherever Upanishads or Gita are talking of Brahmana, it is talking about Guna. Therefore, he says one who has real Brahma, who is a Brahmana, really speaking, one place Shastra says the one who knows Brahma is Brahmana. But here we are not talking of that. We are talking of the qualities of the person.
Exactly.
So, quality of the person, a Shishya, that Brahmana, who is a Brahmana, who has done the pariksha and he has understood Nasti Akrita Kritena.
Correct.
Moksha is not there by any doing. Moksha is not a karma phala. And therefore he gets vairagya from the Viveka by analyzing the experiences of Sukha Dukkha in life. And that is what it is. So Brahmana.
And so a very important part of what Swamiji explains here is that superiority is not in terms of whether you're a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or a Vaishya or a Shudra. In the Brahmana, if you behave like a Brahmana should, then you are a superior Brahmana. But if you are a Brahmana who's constantly wanting only recognition and fame, and then you have a different, you have a very
When you
illogical
use both the words together, it is confusing. You should say Brahmana duties.
Brahmana duties. Okay.
When you
We are
say
only talking of duties. We are not talking of birth here at all.
Brahmana, one who is doing a duty of a Brahmana, he will be a Brahmana when he is doing meticulously his job,
Meticulously, huh?
satvically. But he's after money,
Yes.
something that like that, then it is Vaishya Brahmana. Something like
Or
that.
if he's doing something like what you were mentioning about working with leather and then he's a Shudra.
Shudra Brahmana.
So
Like,
that is how your ranking is done. It's not
yes.
a birth ranking of
This
Brahmana.
verse is so revealing. So the where in the Gita people say Guna Karma Vibhagasha is very clearly said.
This is the wrong interpretation by, I think, English translators. Kind
Yes.
of a
This
very
is not a
literal.
commentary on social order. This is not a commentary on social order. It's basically for people who believe in Ishvara, the
And
order
then,
of Ishvara, in Dharma, and reincarnation,
Yes.
the result of the
But I
karma,
think
and karma phala.
the
That's super
Sanatanis
important.
are also to blame in this particular interpretation, because a lot of injustice did happen on, by poor interpretation of this. But now I think by reading this verse, we understand what exactly is the true meaning of Varna in as per our scriptures.
so that is why I tell you always, if you just by studying Bhagavad Gita, you will understand many things. And therefore, the best method of study of the Gita is what we are doing. First, you come studying the Gita, then you already know what is what. Then you don't have to spar with each and every one to put your point across. You already know it. But if you come without studying, nothing you will understand in the class. Why? Because you don't know what is being discussed. Already we are having a basis of study. And that is why this whole study, the method we have adopted is the best method. And you will find we are at one group is at the end of the 18th chapter. And still the second group also, once you find you are doing the second time study, it does not look as if you're doing second time. It looks as if you're doing again something with a fresh mind, fresh new mind. Same thing what you studied, something more and more is opening up, because every time you study, something more will come up, because the seeker has grown, matured now to think in greater terms. That is the difference. You see? That is why we go to the next verse.
Swamiji, one point I wanted to make. Two things. One is that what my takeaway from this chapter was that the gunas are also fluid to an extent. One can change one's thinking, one's characteristic through action, from being from having a rajasic frame of mind or having a tamasic frame of mind. One can change it to a sattvic
Yes, that is a very important point. The
One
growth
is
is
not
always there
stuck.
desired. And from tamas to rajas to sattva, that is the growth intended. And
Yes.
the whole method of the Gita is Karma Yoga method for this growth.
To
Through the
point out
Karma
and to
Yoga,
make one aware of
yes,
one's
yes,
own,
yeah,
and the movement is possible from one to the other. And
yes.
the other thing, Swamiji, I had studied something about the Natya Shastra, which is considered to be like a fifth Veda. In that, it is mentioned that the four Varnas are like the four pillars of society.
Hmm.
So, in importance, all of them have to be there for society to be upright.
Yes, very, very good. Because, and this is not only Bharatiya, all kinds of people, duties and characters you will find all over the world.
All
So
over the
it
world.
is not just mere, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is confined to the one boundary, geographical boundaries of Bharata Desha. It is everywhere. These qualities, these characteristics of the mind. You cannot say that this is not there in America.
Wherever there are groups of people,
Groups of
it's
people are there and people of categories of people are there according to that. Because as Rajiv has said, what we are discussing is the growth of the mind, and therefore Gita is addressing a seeker, a mumukshu, moktum ichu mumukshu, right? Yes. Anybody wants to make any point here?
Swamiji, Swamiji, in ancient time also when there was demarcation of all these divisions, then also few Shudras and lower caste people were also revered like Brahmins only because of their gunas only. There is an example of Satyakam Javala. He was not aware of his paternity, but Gautam Rishi took him as his disciple and he was taught by him.
Yes, yes. Because he spoke the truth that I don't know
Yeah, he spoke the truth
my
that I don't know my
parentage.
paternity.
My mother
Yeah,
Udyamam Jabali. I am born of
Jabali.
Jabala. Very nice example. And also there are so many rishis are there, Valmiki and
Valmiki
so
Rishi was
many
there.
other Angulimal, all other things, so many other people are there who were from the Harijan. Swamiji writes in the Gita. They became saints. And also Vishwamitra, he was a Kshatriya who
He
he
was
was
a
at
he
par
became
with the
Rishi.
Vasishtha Muni. He was at fight
Yeah.
and ultimately he wanted to become Brahma Rishi and then he became one. So it is not that once you are born into a particular family, a particular way of living, because Vishwamitra was a king
Yeah.
usually, but a king, Kshatriya duty, king as a family, also born in a family of Kshatriya, duties of a Kshatriya as a king, leader. Then he wanted to be Brahma Rishi, and for that, how much tapas he did. And that growth is signified by Karma Yoga. Anybody else? Any other
And Swamiji,
points?
Vyasa also, Swamiji.
Vyasa also, yes. Namang karmani limpanti, name karma phale spriha, iti mayo bijanati, karma birna sabadhyate. So you see in the last verse, you can speak on and on and on and on about these things. But the main idea, you have understood what it is all about. And if you have any other points, you can make now. But now he is telling about how I am not a knower doer is this verse is mainly talking about that actions do not affect me. Namang karmani limpanti. And also there is no longing for the result. Name karma phale spriha. And the one who knows like this, he knows me. And he also is not bound by action. So Swamiji writes in the end of this verse commentary that it is a Mahavakya. Mahavakya is where Jiva Ishvara identity
Aikyam.
is. Aikyam. And therefore one who knows me as Ishvara, that is knowing me as Ishvara. Because what is Ishvara? That is in the first line. Nam yo mam namam karmani limpanti. So the doership, enjoyership, these aspects do not affect one for whom. In short, Riya, you do this verse.
So basically, herein Bhagavan Krishna says that even though I have created this world, even though I perform certain actions in this world, but I'm not affected by any of the actions, neither do I crave for any results, because I understand that I'm neither the doer nor the enjoyer. So Jiva craves for specific results, or they think that they are enjoyer or doer because of their superimposition of I as Atma. They do not have the understanding of who they are. Hence, they think themselves as enjoyers and doer. But since I do not have this, and but since I do not have this ignorance, I know who I am, and I'm not the enjoyer and doer. Hence, I'm not affected by any results, or I'm not affected by any actions of it. So even the one who clearly knows this, who clearly knows that he is Atma, and Atma is non-doer and non-enjoyer, he understands that he is me. That person is also not bound by actions and result, only if he knows this. So he says that I'm not bound, and hence who knows me like this is also not bound by anything. And as you said, it is Mahavakya is mentioned that this is a Mahavakya because here in Jiva and Ishvara is being connected, and their difference, the separateness is being distinguished here. So this is why this is also a Mahavakya. So the whole trust is that it's through knowledge that you will understand who you are, and hence you will not be enjoyer and doer, and hence you will not be bound to any karma or any results of it.
Yeah. So that is how the Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. That was said in that verse. Is again, this is the understanding still unfolded. Yes, anybody else?
And
Further?
basically, Swamiji, there is no bhed between the Ishwar and the Jiva. Bhed is only because of Upadhi. Ishwar is having the Upadhi of Samasti, and Jiva is having the Upadhi of the Vyasti. Or Ishwar is a Sarvagya, and Jiva is a Alpagya. Otherwise, basically, both are the
Both
same.
upadhis are limited only, so both are upadhis. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
here, Ishvara, what talks of the one who knows this, that I am the very self, Satya Mithya, Viveka is there. The Atma and Atma Viveka is there. The one who knows the Atma is Satyam and Anatma is Mithya. Atma Satyam means I am the very crux. This cognitive shift is there. And therefore, the total understanding of even while doing action in the world, still I have no, like, I don't have anything to do with it. And therefore, it does not get affected. I don't get affected by that. And then in the karma phala also, I don't have any. There's this whole understanding makes it very clear that I am Brahman. I am Brahman. Anybody else? Rajiv?
Sanjay, most of it has already been said, Sanjay.
Yeah.
I know. So
Yeah.
when there's no Upadhi left and the Ekya is there, that's how there's no Bheda left. When the Bhed Buddhi is there, that's how everyone reaches me, as will be made clear in the next verse also.
Yeah, we'll see the next verse then. So, evam gyatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvai purvataram kritam. Therefore, actually, this verse is mainly saying, if you know me in this manner, what was said in the previous verse. So, and he talks about people whoever knew me in this manner, me, the truth of me, Ishvara, without any upadhi, that then they also performed action. Because you know that I am not the doer. And once you know this, therefore, it is not that after knowing me, there is no way you can drop action. You can keep doing. There's no problem with the action as such. And therefore, as in the ancient times, so too now also you keep on saying Tasmat Tvam Purvahi Purvataram Kritam Kuru Karma Eva. So like people who have done before, who came before in the ancient past, therefore you need to perform action as they did after this knowledge. And that is why the whole third chapter, this is whole in one verse, he is trying to prove his point that this knowledge makes you free of the bondage of karma. There is no bondage of karma being, there's no bondage of karma when you understand you are not a doer and joy. This is the main point. Yes. Anybody wants to explain this verse? Sharda?
Swami,
Yeah,
Swami,
go
the Shankara says that Mumukshu who is yet not a Jnani should perform action in order to clean his mind of
Yeah,
all the
if you are a
non-doing
mumukshu, then you are just doing
actions.
it for Antakarana
Yeah.
Shuddhi. If you are
And
a
if it is
jnani,
a
then you
Jnani,
are not a doer anyway.
yeah. And both the whether you are a Jnani or Yogani, you have to perform the action. And
Action you have to perform.
and just it is a similarly simply giving the instruction to the Arjun that you have to follow the karma, not the sannyasa.
Yes. Yes, Sharda.
Very interestingly, to reach the state of actionlessness or naishkarmya, which is moksha, the only way to reach it is by performing action. And that is what Krishna is trying to emphasize here. You cannot sit back and say, oh, I'm not going to do anything, because that is the only way. Non-doership is what is moksha. It is a process of action, and in a particular manner, a karma yoga attitude wala action that is going to eventually help you reach that stage of actionlessness. And that's what here Bhagavan is trying to tell even Arjuna, that everyone who has come before you and all the Gyanis who have finally reached the stage of actionlessness, or who have reached moksha, who have understood Jnanam, all of them have come through the path of action only. So they all act, they all do karma. Many of them have come that way. And therefore, you also similarly have to perform action just like those who came before you did. So he himself has said that actions don't affect him. And when you reach that stage where you become one with him, or you become him and realize that you are him, you will also finally reach that stage where actions will not affect you. But until then, you have to perform actions, because as a mumukshu, uh, basically Atma is asanga, it is purna, and without any longing for karma phala. But only those who are, but having knowledge does not preclude action. You perform action. So basically, what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna is, don't take sannyasa, nor are you going to sit quietly. You have to do karma, your karma, that is yours to be done. And there is a clear separation in this particular verse of the mumukshus and the non-mumukshus. So we are talking about a mumukshu who is not yet a jnani, or in this particular place, who has to perform action to cleanse all his ragas and dveshas. The only way he can cleanse himself or purify himself out of the or become asanga is through performance of action with the mind and attitude of a karma yogi. So even later, if you become a jnani also, there are people who perform action like Janaka, who did it for loka sangrahartham, which is basically for the welfare or
of the
good
society.
of society at large. And Krishna himself also in that sense is doing action for the welfare of society, and to ensure that people who follow him continue. Seemingly, he should have to look like he's performing action. And therefore, every jnani who performs action performs it in this fashion. He performs it for the purpose of the welfare of the greatest good of the greatest people, but he does it as a non-doer, because every action that he does, not a single action impacts him or affects him. So the action of a mumukshu is different. The action of the mumukshu is to reach moksha. The action of the jnani is to do loka sangartham, or welfare of people.
That's it. So Swamiji says volition is dependent upon the Atma, but Atma is independent of all volition. Volition means what? Karta. Karta is Atma, but Atma is not the Karta. This pot is clay, but clay is not the pot. Doer is Atma, but Atma is not the doer. Enjoyer is Atma, but Atma is not the enjoyer. So all that is to be understood. This is the clarity that what do you mean therefore who is doing the action? Whatever the mind is performing, mind is Atma, but Atma is not the mind. Atma is not just the mind. Atma is everything. You see? So therefore with this clarity, the karma you do, the karma phala, if you have this understanding that karma phala will not stick to you. You see, there is a total cognitive shift, and that is why all you need in Vedanta is clarity about this knowledge of you being Atma. That's it. Rajiv?
Sanjeev, because the phala belongs to the karta, and karma also is to the karta only. When the karta is not there, there is no karma phala. And when there's no karma phala, there's no kartatva. And when there's no kartatva, there's no bhoktatva also. So because enjoyership and doership though go side by side only. And it's a, as you stated, Swamiji, it's a cognitive shift only. That's understanding only. By that understanding, because nothing else changes. Only the understanding changes. And by change of understanding, you reach a state of sarv karma sannyasa. And Swamiji, another point that in the last verse, Bhagavan said that he doesn't have any spriha. He doesn't have any inclination for any particular kind of a result. And that's important because if he has, then he'll be discriminating. Because for persons whom he likes, he'll do the favorable things, and for the persons he dislikes,
Ragadvesha will be there for Bhagavan.
so that's important to have no spriha for Ishvara. That makes him impartial, and that also makes him beyond this kartartava, doership and enjoyership.
Yeah. Riya,
So
we have so much time, so everybody can speak now.
So basically, knowing one as Atma and hence not knowing oneself as doer and enjoyer. So the one who knows me like this, the one who is mumukshu as in mumukshu can be looked into two ways. The one who is already has the jnana, and the one who is a seeker and who is doing the action for the for the antakarana shuddhi, and the other one who already has the knowledge, he is doing the karma because of lok sangra or because of his prarabdh, like Raja Janaka. So these are the two kind of mumukshus. So there has been the one who has known me as Atma, the ones who have known me as self. So for these people, um, for uh, for these people, they are also not affected by the karma, they're also not bound by the karma, and they're also not they do not crave for any specific launching or specific result, because they are full. They already know that they are full, and they do not need any improvement or betterment in themselves. The one who knows me, they if they do not need, they are not bound by the karma, so to get this liberation, you need to get antakarana shuddhi. For that you have to perform karma. So karma is also indirectly related to achieving liberation, but not only thing that you need for the liberation. So you should anyway perform karma, even if you are a mumukshu. If you are a mumukshu or if you are a jnani, you need to perform the karma, and you should keep on performing karma and get that maturity of mind, and hence through this process eventually you will lead to the liberation.
Yeah. Anybody else? हो गया आज का. If you want anything from the first verse, Chaturvarnya Maya system, any points, clarification. Otherwise, we'll end the class here. Right? सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। थैंक यू।